What secrets do the velvet cases of royal treasuries conceal? What stories do diamonds and rubies whisper, having adorned crowned heads for centuries? Today we will lift the veil of secrecy and immerse ourselves in the splendor and drama of two magnificent tiaras from the House of Orange-Nassau, whose destiny is inextricably linked to the history of the Netherlands and the women who wore the crown. Prepare for a journey through time, where each stone is a witness to an era. Part 1. The Mellerio Ruby Parure, a legacy in crimson and diamonds. In the dazzling light of a state banquet at the Royal Palace of Amsterdam, held in honor of the visit of Sultan Haitham bin Tariq of Oman, all eyes were drawn to the young heir to the throne of the Netherlands. Princess Catharina-Amalia, Princess of Orange, made her debut to the world wearing one of the royal family's most iconic jewels, the magnificent Mellerio Ruby Tiara. This debut was not merely a display of family heirlooms. It was a symbolic step, a reminder of her future destiny and her unbroken connection to the generations of queens before her. The moment was all the more poignant because this very tiara was not just a historical artifact for the princess, but also an object of childhood games and dreams. In honor of her 18th birthday in 2021, the royal palace shared a charming, previously unpublished photograph. 9-year-old Catharina-Amalia, standing in her mother, Queen Maxima's dressing room, excitedly trying on this sparkling marvel of rubies and diamonds. In an authorized biography released to coincide with her coming of age, the princess confessed to the author, Claudia de Brage, "I love tiaras. Show me a tiara and I immediately know where it's from. I can recognize all the tiaras of Europe. I used to wear my mother's. When one of them lay on her dressing table, I always put it on." And so years later, a childhood game became a reality, part of her official role. But what exactly is this legendary tiara, which has witnessed so many royal destinies? Its story begins in 1888. King Willem III of the Netherlands, wishing to make a truly regal gift to his second wife, Queen Emma of Waldeck and Pyrmont, in honor of her 30th birthday. Although some sources indicate that the gift was made for the birth of their daughter Wilhelmina, and others simply as a token of love and appreciation, turned to one of the oldest and most prestigious jewelry houses in Paris, Mellerio Ruby. This house, founded in 1613, and with a long history of serving the royal courts of Europe, was renowned for its exquisite taste and impeccable craftsmanship. The commission was not just for a tiara, but for an entire parure, a set of jewels designed in a unified style. The cost of the commission was colossal for the time, 150,000 guilders, which, converted to today's money, amounts to a sum equivalent to approximately £71,000 sterling, or even significantly more, given the historical and artistic value. The design of this masterpiece was entrusted to Oscar Massin, a brilliant jeweller whom contemporaries called the Diamond Reformer. Massin revolutionized the jewelry art of the 19th century by developing innovative stone-setting techniques that allowed for the maximum display of their brilliance and minimized the visibility of the metal. His creations were distinguished by their lightness, airiness, and incredible play of light. The Mellerio Ruby Tiara is the embodiment of Victorian opulence and elegance. It is crafted in the form of 3 graceful floral or foliate motifs, connected by diamond garlands and scrolls. The central element is the largest, the 2 side elements are slightly smaller, creating a harmonious and majestic composition. The base of the construction is platinum or white gold, which was characteristic of Massin's work, as he strived for the invisibility of the metal. The main adornment of the tiara is, of course, the rubies. Large, with a rich, deep red colour probably of Burmese origin, although the exact details are hidden by time, they are set in the centre of each motif and surrounded by a scattering of old-cut diamonds that shimmer softly, creating a contrast with the fiery brilliance of the rubies. The total carat weight of the rubies and diamonds is significant, but the exact figures remain part of the mystery of the royal treasury. The very construction of the tiara, thanks to Massin's mastery, was probably relatively light and flexible, ensuring comfort when worn, despite its imposing appearance. But the Mellerio Ruby Parure is not just a tiara. The full set also includes necklace, a majestic necklace echoing the main motifs of the tiara. The central element with a large ruby and diamond surround is suspended from a diamond chain, adorned with additional ruby and diamond elements. It lies perfectly on the décolletage, creating a truly regal look. Earrings, long pendant earrings, each of which is a smaller version of the tiara's central motif with a large ruby surrounded by diamonds suspended from a diamond element at the earlobe. They gracefully frame the face and accentuate the sparkle in the eyes. Brooch, a large brooch, the design of which echoes the central element of the tiara. It can be worn as a standalone piece of jewellery or to secure a ribbon of an order. Often it is the brooch that becomes the central focus of a daytime or evening outfit. Bracelet, an elegant bracelet consisting of links with rubies and diamonds, echoing the style of the entire parure. It adorns the wrist, completing the harmonious ensemble. Fate decreed that King Willem III did not live to see the moment when his wife could wear this magnificent gift at a public event. He passed away in 1890. Queen Emma, who became regent for her young daughter Wilhelmina, first officially wore the Mellerio Ruby Parure for a portrait painted in 1891, just before or shortly after Wilhelmina's investiture. This portrait became a symbol of the continuity of power and the resilience of the monarchy. Emma, a wise and respected ruler, continued to wear this parure on the most solemn occasions until her death in 1934. Rubies, a symbol of passion, power, and love, became for her a reminder of her late husband and a sign of her high status. After Emma's death, the parure was inherited by her daughter, Queen Wilhelmina. Wilhelmina's reign coincided with the complex period of the two world wars. Although she undoubtedly valued her mother's legacy, there is not much evidence that she often wore this particular ruby parure. Perhaps her more restrained style or the austere times dictated other preferences in jewellery. The real flourishing of the Mellerio Ruby Parure came during the era of Queen Juliana, Wilhelmina's daughter. Ascending to the throne after her mother's abdication in 1948, Juliana clearly had a special fondness for this set. She chose it for one of the most important events in the life of her eldest daughter, then Princess Beatrix, the celebration of her 18th birthday in 1956. This choice emphasized not only the solemnity of the moment of the future queen's coming of age, but also the transmission of family traditions. 10 years later, in 1966, Juliana again shone in the ruby tiara at Beatrix's wedding to Claus von Amsberg. This was a powerful statement about the continuity and splendor of the House of Orange. Juliana also wore the tiara to top-level international events, such as the lavish wedding ball of King Baudouin of Belgium and Queen Fabiola in Brussels in 1960. She often chose this parure for state visits, for example, during trips to Ethiopia and Indonesia, where the ruby radiance served as a symbol of the grandeur of the Dutch monarchy. For Juliana, this parure was not just a piece of jewellery, but part of her royal identity. The fate of the parure under the next Queen Beatrix turned out somewhat differently. As hereditary princess, Beatrix quite often appeared in these jewels. One of the most notable appearances was her presence at the wedding of the future king Juan Carlos I of Spain and Princess Sophia of Greece in Athens in 1962, where the young princess in the ruby tiara represented the Dutch royal house. However, having become queen in 1980, after her mother's abdication, Beatrix seemed to have cooled towards this set. A mysterious period of almost 2 decades ensued from 1982 to the mid-2000s, when the Mellerio Ruby Tiara practically did not leave the royal treasury. The reasons for this remain the subject of speculation. Perhaps Queen Beatrix's strict and businesslike style did not harmonise with the splendour of the Victorian parure, or did she prefer other jewels from the extensive collection? Whatever the case, the ruby lull ended. Beatrix wore the tiara again at one of the most glittering royal events of the new century, the wedding of Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden and Daniel Westling in Stockholm in 2010. And 2 years later, In 2012, she chose it for a state visit to Oman. Significantly, it is in Oman that her granddaughter will debut in this same tiara years later. A new era for the Mellerio Ruby Parure was opened by Queen Maxima. With her arrival in the royal family and her accession to the throne together with her husband, King Willem Alexander, in 2013, many historical jewels received a second life. Maxima, known for her flamboyant style and love of eye-catching jewellery, clearly appreciated the splendour of the ruby set. She chose it for a number of prestigious royal events: the lavish wedding of hereditary Grand Duke Guillaume of Luxembourg and Countess Stéphanie de Lannoy in 2012, for one of her first official inaugural portraits as queen in 2013, where the tiara symbolised her new status, and for another high-profile Swedish wedding, Prince Carl Philip and Princess Sophia, in 2015. Maxima wears the tiara with her characteristic chic, not afraid to combine it with modern outfits, proving that true classics are timeless. For her, this parure is not only a tribute to history, but also an instrument of jewellery diplomacy, a way to emphasise the status and splendour of the Dutch monarchy on the world stage. And now, the new generation is taking over the baton. Princess Catharina-Amalia's appearance in the Mellerio Ruby Tiara at the state banquet in Oman is more than just a fashion choice. It is a statement. At the age of 21, the princess, who is studying politics, psychology, law, and economics at the University of Amsterdam, is becoming increasingly involved in royal duties. Her choice of this historical tiara, with which she has warm childhood memories, symbolises her acceptance of her future role with all seriousness, but also with a personal attachment to the legacy of her ancestors. That evening, she complemented the tiara with matching earrings, a brooch, and a bracelet from the ruby parure, creating a cohesive and majestic look. Her choice of dress was also symbolic: an elegant lavender dress with a cape from the British brand Safiya London. Interestingly, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, wore a similar style during her tour of Fiji, emphasised the princess's youth and modernity while adhering to protocol. Her light-coloured hair, pulled back and styled in loose waves, and her understated makeup with shimmering eyeshadow and pink lipstick allowed the jewels to shine in all their glory. It was a carefully thought-out look for a future queen who respects the past and looks confidently to the future. Since her first tiara debut in 2022, when she wore the Star Buttons tiara, Catharina-Amalia has also appeared in Queen Emma's Sapphire tiara, demonstrating a gradual mastery of the House of Orange's richest jewellery collection. The Mellerio Ruby Parure is not just a set of precious stones and metal. It is a living story, passed down from mother to daughter, from queen to queen. Each element of it holds the memory of balls, coronations, weddings, and state visits. It has witnessed the changing of eras, the joys and sorrows of the royal family. And now, adorning the young Princess of Orange, it continues its saga, linking the past, present, and future of the Dutch monarchy. But while all the attention was focused on the debut of the young princess in family rubies, her mother, Queen Maxima, shone in an equally historic and magnificent jewel, whose history goes back even further into the past. What is this tiara, worthy of rivaling the ruby splendour of Mellerio? Part 2. The Württemberg Pearl Tiara, Lunar Radiance of Queens. At the same state banquet in Amsterdam where her daughter Catharina-Amalia first wore the Mellerio Ruby Tiara, Queen Maxima appeared in a look that exuded regal grandeur and refined elegance. Her choice fell on another pearl, both literally and figuratively, of the Dutch royal collection, the Württemberg Grand Pearl Tiara. Interestingly, just a few months earlier, in December of the previous year, Maxima wore the Mellerio Ruby Tiara to a banquet in honour of the President of Portugal, demonstrating her ability to alternate magnificent jewels from the treasury. The Württemberg Tiara is one of the oldest and most imposing jewels of the House of Orange. Its history begins in the first half of the 19th century. It is believed to have been created around 1839, although some sources place its creation in the middle of the century for King Willem III's first wife, Queen Sophie of the Netherlands, who was born a Princess of Württemberg. Sophie, the daughter of King Wilhelm I of Württemberg and Grand Duchess Catherine Pavlovna, sister of Russian Tsar Alexander I, was known for her intelligence, education and interest in art, but her marriage to Willem III was extremely unhappy. Perhaps this magnificent tiara was intended to brighten her difficult life at the Dutch court, or it was part of her dowry, brought from her native Württemberg. The name of the jeweller who created this masterpiece has, unfortunately, been lost in time, but the craftsmanship speaks for itself. The Württemberg Ornate Pearl Tiara is a true architectural structure of pearls and diamonds, executed in the style of late neoclassicism or early Victorianism. Its base is an elegant but sturdy frame of gold or silver, decorated with an intricate pattern of diamond scrolls, swirls, and possibly foliate motifs. Diamonds, most likely of old cut, densely cover the entire structure, creating a shimmering base for the main adornment, the pearls. The tiara is crowned with a row of large pearls of perfectly spherical or drop shape. These pearls, distinguished by their magnificent luster and impeccable surface, are presumably natural marine, which makes them incredibly valuable. Their size and quality are testament to the highest status of the client. One of the unique features of this tiara is its supposed transformability. The top row of large pearls set on spears can be removed, leaving only the diamond base with smaller pearls, allowing the tiara to be worn in a less formal setting or adapted to different hairstyles and outfits. This versatility was quite characteristic of expensive jewellery of that time. After the death of Queen Sophie in 1877, the tiara apparently remained in the main line of the Dutch royal family. The next iconic owner was Queen Wilhelmina. She chose this tiara for one of her most important early portraits, a portrait in honour of her coming of age and official accession to the throne in 1898. In this portrait, the young queen, clad in a luxurious dress, proudly wears the Württemberg tiara, possibly in its full version, symbolising her newfound power and connection to her ancestors. Pearls, traditionally associated with purity, wisdom and royal dignity, were the perfect choice for this moment. Her daughter, Queen Juliana, also included this tiara in her jewellery wardrobe for special occasions. One of the most memorable was her appearance in the Württemberg tiara during a state visit to Great Britain in 1950. This was an important visit, strengthening ties between the two monarchies after the Second World War. Juliana, accompanied by her husband, Prince Bernhard, met with King George VI, Queen Elizabeth, the future Queen Mother, and then Princess Elizabeth, the future Queen Elizabeth II. The choice of such a magnificent tiara emphasised the status of the Dutch Queen and the importance of the diplomatic mission. The radiance of pearls and diamonds against the backdrop of post-war Europe was a symbol of hope and the rebirth of traditions. However, it was Queen Beatrix who truly made this tiara her own. For her, the Württemberg Pearl Tiara had a special, deeply personal meaning. It was the one Beatrix chose for the most important day of her life, her wedding day to German diplomat Claus von Amsberg on March 10, 1966. This choice was no accident. Against the backdrop of some public controversy related to the groom's German origin in post-war Netherlands, the choice of a tiara associated with her ancestor, a Princess of Württemberg, may have been a subtle diplomatic gesture, but above all, it was a choice of the heart. The magnificent, yet austere and elegant tiara perfectly harmonised with the wedding dress and the young princess's image. Since then, the Württemberg tiara has become one of Queen Beatrix's most beloved and frequently worn tiaras throughout her reign. She appeared in it at countless state banquets, official portraits and other ceremonial events. For Beatrix, this tiara became a symbol of her own path, her love, and her reign. And now this historic baton is being carried with dignity by Queen Maxima. At the state banquet in honour of the Sultan of Oman, she looked truly regal. The Württemberg tiara crowned her hairstyle, its pearly radiance perfectly complementing her chosen outfit. Maxima wore a custom-made gown by Pakistani designer Mahpara Khan, a magnificent creation in soft pink or beige, richly embroidered with silvery threads and crystals, creating an intricate floral or ornamental pattern. She first showcased this dress at the wedding of Crown Prince Hussein of Jordan and Princess Rajwa in 2023, and its reappearance only emphasized its splendor. The look was completed with an imposing pearl necklace of 5 strands, which harmonized with the tiara, and large pearl pendant earrings, probably also part of the historical collection, or matched to the tone. Maxima wears the Württemberg tiara with her characteristic confidence and glamour, demonstrating that this majestic 19th century jewel looks wonderful in the 21st century as well. She often chooses the full version of the tiara with the upper pearls, emphasizing its ceremonial nature. Comparing her style with Beatrix's more restrained manner, it can be said that Maxima gives the image with this tiara more sparkle and splendor, while maintaining respect for its history and significance. The Württemberg Grand Pearl. Tiara is not just a piece of jewelry. It is a symbol of continuity, family ties, albeit not always happy ones, royal duty and personal stories. From the unhappy Queen Sophie to the loving grandmother Beatrix and the brilliant Queen Maxima, this tiara has seen it all. Its pearls have reflected the light of candles at 19th century balls, the flashes of cameras at 20th century weddings, and the spotlights of 21st century official receptions. It is a silent witness to the history of the House of Orange, continuing to shine on the brow of the queens of the Netherlands. 2 tiaras, ruby and pearl, adorning one evening. 2 magnificent creations of jewelry art, each with its own unique history, its own secrets, and its own connection to the great women of the past and present. They remind us that royal jewels are not just symbols of status and wealth. They are living threads, connecting generations, keepers of memory, and silent narrators of great stories. The Mellerio Ruby Parure and the Württemberg Pearl Tiara are just 2 stars in the galaxy of treasures of the House of Orange, but their brilliance illuminates the path not only of the royal family of the Netherlands, but also of all who appreciate history, art, and enduring beauty. They have seen tears and smiles, triumphs and tragedies, love and duty. And looking at them today, on the young princess and on the reigning queen, we see not just jewels, but embodied history that continues to be written before our eyes. What other secrets do the royal treasuries of the world hold? And which of these 2 magnificent jewels impressed you more? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Which story touched you the most? If you enjoyed this immersion into the world of royal jewels, be sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you don't miss our next journeys into the world of glitter and history. Until next time.